Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome on in. It is your Tuesday. Decidedly not Wednesday, despite the conversations I had with our producer, Alex Napolis, and Jeremiah Jensen today.
I think our group has reached that point where we have no idea what day it is.
Well, not just that. Like,
everything's blurring together.
I didn't believe it. I was like, you guys are freaking liars. All right? It's definitely Wednesday, and I hate both of you. Stop trying to play this joke on me.
It's Wednesday. It's still February.
I know. I
No
can't
way
believe
that month went that fast.
No, we're in double digits already in March. Yeah, it was suddenly.
The madness is upon us.
Yeah. Hey, it's going on right now. Utah down 6 right now against Cincinnati with 3 minutes left. Now down 5. Watch out. Watch out, Bearcats. This is what the tournament does. People show up.
Utah's played them tough this year.
Terrence Brown's got 22.
Yep.
Having a good game. So there you go. There's your update there. And, of course, BYU's playing a little bit later today. 5 o'clock, right? That's going to be the one.
5 p.m. Mountain Time.
So they're going to tip off against Kansas State. Who's coaching that team? Is it just the guys? Everybody getting together? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Did they name an interim? I think they're just having the guy. It's like Hoosiers when Shooter gets kicked out.
Yeah.
Or when Gene Hackman gets kicked out and Shooter doesn't know what he's doing, so the players just start calling plays.
So the coach, you've probably never heard of him before, that is coaching Kansas State today is Matthew Driscoll.
No, I know him. I don't know him.
You played that really well.
Yeah, Matthew Driscoll. No, great guy. No,
I'm such a college basketball fan. I even know the assistants.
Yeah, no, but the swinging fence he runs is just classic.
Swinging fence.
Bring it back, Hoosiers again. All right,
still running the triangle at Kansas State.
We got a lot to. Hey, listen, Phil Jackson still is among us, so as long as he's around, the triangle offense is going to be around. Okay, some version of it. So, all right, we got lots to go on the program today, and we've got a shortened show because of some hockey starting up at 5 o'clock pregame of the Utah Mammoth. I don't know if they're going to steal a game from Minnesota on a second night of a back-to-back, but taking the loss last night, of course, at Chicago. In overtime, though, so you've stolen a point at least out of that situation, but Chicago, for some reason, has had Utah's number this year.
Weird.
3-0 against the Mammoth. And, man, every game gets chippy. I love the fight in these guys, but it's currently 7 out of the 8 total points that they could have earned on the trip. So I'm kind of going, all right, there you go. Somebody said this is the most successful road trip in franchise history. Not
including
since being
Arizona?
in Utah, including Arizona.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? That they're already like, even with just the point there, a 5-game roadie.
So 3 wins on a 5-game road trip is a franchise record.
3 wins and
Arizona.
then the added point too. So
wow.
Even if they lose tonight, which I'm afraid that may be the case.
They're going to get their doors blown.
You think so? Veggie's back.
What happened last week?
Yeah, they lost 5-2 at our place.
Minnesota, long trip, comes to at the end of the trip, comes to Delta Center, and the Mammoth just absolutely crush them. So now the roles are reversed, and you don't think the Wild would love to get a little retribution?
Yeah, no, I could see it happening. But
tired team rolling into Minneapolis tonight, second out of a back-to-back. It's a bad recipe. I'm sorry, it is.
Well, we'll see how it goes because
I hope I'm wrong.
Maybe just steal another point. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh my gosh,
we'll see. It's been good so far, and they're clear of a couple teams right now for that wild card 1 spot. So we got plenty of time to be able to talk about it and much more on the program. Yeah, it is conference basketball championships across the entire nation for the big conferences, and we'll keep you updated on all those. Let's get the show kicked off officially, though, with the top of the program. The Jazz are still winning. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, so you were watching this game last night. I was watching this game last night. And I saw them up 10 in the second half, the Utah Jazz. And I felt okay about it because I've seen this before. up 10. Slowly it gets whittled down. 3.5 minutes left. They lose by 7.
Yeah.
Not the case. Last night, the Utah Jazz get a go-ahead 3 from Blake Hinson.
What happened? You're supposed to lose these games.
I love how JJ's like, put the starters in. Let them lose with dignity.
They know how to do this. They know the assignment.
Put the starters
you can't
in.
put a bunch of two-ways in there fighting for their NBA lives.
I know. They're trying out for the Golden State Warriors last night.
They got too much to play for.
My heavens. So lots with this game last night. But, I mean, the takeaway is you get 21 from Bryce Sensabaugh. The Jazz they've won 2 out of the last 3. Will you explain to me the scenario that makes you the most nervous about this team going forward here? Because play to not convey,
yes,
while not a snappy theme needs to be run through. Everybody needs to be on board with this.
Isn't that the whole point of what we're doing right now, right? And especially at this point in the season. So you got to make sure you do everything you can to keep that pick. Now, if my math is not wrong, the farthest they could fall in a lottery is 4 spots. So if you lock up one of those bottom 4 spots, you don't have to worry about the lottery night. You're going to keep the pick no matter how far down it falls. But if you're 5th worst record in the league, you run that risk. And now it's a small percentage, but we saw that percentage play out last year. You had 2 teams move up into the top 4. No, 3. You had Dallas, you had the Spurs, and you had the Sixers all move up into the top 4 of the lottery, which pushed everybody down. The worst nuclear situation for the Jazz, for the Wizards, and all the other teams involved that didn't win the lottery happened. And so that's not likely to happen again, but it could. So you guarantee yourself not having to convey that pick if you finish bottom 4. Where are the Jazz right now as of this moment? They are 5th worst record. So it leaves you that little small percentage of being really nervous on lottery night. Now, you're dealing with some other teams that have the similar issues. Like the Wizards have the same protection on their pick, top 8. They do not want to convey. The Pacers also have a protection on their pick. They do not want to convey. So there's 2 teams ahead of you of the 4 that are trying to lose even as hard as you are,
right,
and they've got a jump start on you. So the margin for error is thin when it comes to losing to improve your lottery odds and to eliminate the possibility of losing that pick altogether. And the Jazz are only a half game ahead of the Pelicans now. By the way, the Pelicans pick is already going to the Atlanta Hawks. The Dallas Mavericks are only a game and a half back of the Jazz. So if the Mavericks and Pelicans finish ahead of the Jazz, all of a sudden you drop to 7th worst, then your odds of conveying that pick jump up dramatically. So there's work to be done here when it comes to losing games. I hate this conversation, by the way. But this is the reality of the situation. Your likelihood of falling down to 8th in the Grizzlies is unlikely. They are 6 clear of the Bulls for 9th. So that's definitely not the goal and not going to happen. But you see, the problem the Jazz have here are there a lot of other teams here who are strategically doing the same dang thing, and they are currently in a better spot. Yeah. So it's hard last night. It sucks because we should be really happy for Blake Hinson. That's incredible. A two-way player getting an opportunity to make a big shot like that.
Right.
This is his lifetime dream. We should be celebrating that, and we are. It's great. But that shot hurt the Jazz last night when it comes to lottery odds.
It was tough.
I hate this.
So, have you caught yourself doing like a million of these sim lotteries, by the way? I go down that rabbit hole, and it never actually works out. It really doesn't. There's like no scenario on Tankathon where I feel good about this. Chandler Holt, KSLSports.com, covers the Utah Jazz, and of course, he and Ben do Jazz Notes, the podcast. And he put up a picture of the latest possibilities. Now, this was from 2 days ago, and it was like the Oklahoma City Thunder have a 1% chance of getting that 8th pick. Is it 8th or 9th? I don't know what it'd be. But either way, the Jazz's first-round pick.
It would have to be 9th.
It
can't be any higher than 9th.
Can't be any higher than 9th. So 9th pick, a 1% chance currently. That was 2 days ago. So I don't like right now it's at a 4.5%. I don't like those things because, by the way, guess who had 4.5 to be able to get the number 1 pick overall in the stinking lottery?
2 years ago, the Hawks won the lottery.
Yeah,
they
same
were
thing.
last team to miss the playoffs.
There's been no sim that I've run where they've been even top 3 in any of these.
Okay,
And-
I ran 2, and the Jazz got 2 and 3.
Okay.
And I think the Jazz would be really happy with number 2 in this draft because I think we all know, if you come away in this draft with either A.J. Deboncer or Cam Boozer, you got to be thrilled.
One of the sims I just did was the
Or Darren Peters.
Mavericks going up 5 spots and taking Cam Boozer second.
Of course.
Or third.
Of course. Perfect
And why
compliment
not?
to Cooper Flag.
Why
right?
not? Yeah. 2 Dookies, man, going at it. 2 one-year Dookies winning the Naismith back-to-back years.
Oh, I just did the sim lottery again, and the Jazz fall to 8th.
I know.
They fall 3 spots.
I can't do it.
The Kings win it.
I cannot do it.
Dallas moves up to 3.
Yeah. It's a bad thing to get it. None of us should ever visit this website ever.
Hey, the Jazz just won.
And here we are. And, they did?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm like, the
I haven't
fifth
seen
try,
one.
the Jazz won
I haven't
the
seen
lottery.
one yet. Where's the Martinelli? I know. Listen, you joke about it, but honestly, our day was ruined at JCW's. I lost my appetite as soon as I saw the lottery balls go the direction of the Mavericks. And look, this year's it's a deep draft this year. But everybody knows that there are 3 players that people are mostly talking about. And
I'd throw Caleb Wilson in there. Have you seen
Okay.
his play? Oh, my gosh.
A.J. Debonsa,
There's a reason why he broke his hand dunking.
right, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and Caleb Wilson. If you can get in that top 4, it's just, yeah. After that, you can tell me how deep it is, but after that, it's hard. It's a hard sell for me. It's gone final. Utes fall in the first round of the Big 12 championship.
Breaking news.
77-66. Valiant effort there at the end. They got within 4.
Not valiant of an effort worthy enough of a breaking news sounder here on JJ and Alex.
No. This is just
They did not get the breaking news
no.
treatment today.
You move past it as soon as we can. All right, that's that's what you have to do.
The offseason begins for the Runnin' Utes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. We were just talking about how weird of a year it was for Alex Jensen. I don't know what the real vibe is because everything has been had to have been bounced off of the gravity that pulls people toward the A.J. Debonsa story in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
And so Utah has had to go up against this vision of a $20-something million roster down in Provo and then pointing and laughing when they finished 10th in the Big 12 regular season standings.
And rushing the court.
But then I think that got under JJ's skin. He's like, we are rushing the court way too much.
I'm not
these
going to
days.
tell the kids not to have fun.
Do they get fined for that, by the way? Don't they? I mean, the football
don't think
field
so.
for sure.
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't the court be any different? Hey, Annapolis, let's do a little groundwork, see if there's a fine for storming the court in the Big 12. We'll get to that momentarily. Because I swear, like Kevin Young had to run away from people on the court the other night. And then he went back out to like take the scene in because it was kind of cool. But yeah, weird times. BYU, by the way. Oh, we've already got an answer here.
There is a fine.
You're
supposed to have a fine.
What? How much is it?
It's $25,000.
Chump change for the crumble guy.
Is Nutrisoft going to pay that?
Nutrisoft.
TCU was fined.
Nutricost.
You made it
a
sound
couple
Not
weeks ago.
Nutrisoft.
And then
Nutrisoft.
UCF was fined a couple weeks ago too.
Nutrisoft is the newest brand
What
of
is
edible.
Nutrisoft?
It's edible bathroom tissue. Nutrisoft.
Nutricost.
Oh my goodness. All right, so there you go. BYU versus the Kansas State Wildcats today. I think they steal at least one of these. I say steal. They're the favorites in this game. I think they win at least the first round. They could definitely get West Virginia. And they owe one to West Virginia. Obviously, they lost to the Mountaineers there at their place. West Virginia became a way better basketball team this year. I think came out of nowhere for a lot of folks. And for them to finish ahead of BYU in the regular season standings probably was not in the cards for a lot of folks because that was a bad team last year. And they were pretty halfway through the season. They were already a bubble team. And I think that they're still in that kind of position. We'll see how it ends up. But West Virginia will not be an easy out. And then Houston awaits the winner of that game. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Last night, the Utah Jazz beating the Golden State Warriors, I thought it was nice because at the same time, I think that these guys do get absolute from a day-to-day standpoint, these guys have to be tired of the way these games have gone.
Oh, yeah.
And the NBA dream is not lived out this way. the way that these guys pictured what their career was going to be like. Now, they stay in nice hotels, they fly on nice planes, they're playing cards with their buddies. They're like, I saw this in the Michael Jordan documentary. And then they get to the game, and everybody's looking and going, aren't you guys going to finish last? Because we kind of need it. They're hearing the noise. They have to. Blake Hinson has to know that people are looking around going, hey, I wish you the best of luck, kid. You shouldn't have shot that shot, though. I mean, I bet that there's a lot of that noise that they end up hearing on social media.
Which
These guys
sucks.
I know.
It's a tough place to be.
It's not this is why if you're going to take the temperature for Adam Silver on whether or not things are going well in your league, that's a bad place to be in. That you have 10 teams that are looking at each other and hoping for the worst, right? What a weird spot to be in the world of sports, not the least of which are the professional sports, the big four, and this is what you're getting.
Well, what were the Warriors doing last night? I mean,
I have no idea. They sat
Guy
everybody.
Santos, Quentin Post, DeAnthony Melton starting. A player named Malevi Leons played 13 minutes.
A player named, his avatar is a blank thing. They don't have the picture. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy. He's on a video game.
Malevi Leons of Bradley did not score last night
That's
in his
debut.
13 minutes on the court.
Oh, there you go. So, in the end, though, the Jazz get the win. They improve to 20 wins on the season. I don't know how you think it's going to shake out officially. I don't know what the last dozen and a half games are going to look like for this team, but with 18 games left, I wonder if we're going to see a massive amount of disappointment in the next 6 weeks. If we're going to be absolutely devastated when things don't turn up the way that you want it to as a Jazz fan. And it seems weird because then people are going to look around and go, you asked us not to be a tanking team. You fined us $500,000, and here we are. And now everybody's mad that we didn't lose enough games. What a freaking weird spot to be in professional sports.
Good thing it's coming to an end after this season.
Well, they say they're going to make adjustments, but I don't know if they're going to be able to make big ones enough that are going to make a difference.
For the Jazz, they don't have to worry about tanking anymore, so who cares? Like, it's done. This franchise is not going to have to think about or worry about that, the T word.
Possibly ever again.
For another decade, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then hopefully in the next decade, the league figures out a better way because this is not good for the NBA. It's not good for basketball. And in all honesty, I hate the fact that we're not celebrating and talking about how cool that shot in that moment was for Blake Hinson last night to make that big of a shot in the final minute. This is one of the great stories of NBA basketball are these guys that find opportunities and make the most of them. Not everybody's the number one overall pick. There's a lot of guys out there that have to work hard for years and years and years just to get the moment. And when they have the moment, it should be celebrated and it should be exciting. And yeah, we're in a situation where we're gritting our teeth because the Jazz won a game last night and it hurts their lottery odds. I hate it, but those days are soon coming to an end. You're I think every Jazz fan feels the same way you do because for years these fans have been hurt because things never go their way. If there's any situation that can go the Jazz way, it never does. When has it ever gone their way? They've never moved up in the lottery. The only exception was when they had the Nets pick in the Darren Williams trade. They moved up into the top 3 and were able to get Enes Kanter. But even in that draft, that was a bomb. That draft didn't work out the way it should have because there were better players in that draft they didn't select, which hurt them in that decade getting better. And you, year in and year out now, have felt like you're in this lottery and it's not working. Although the Jazz have done a pretty good job, in my opinion, of drafting. Look what they've drafted in the last few years. I think it's been really impressive since Danny Ainge came in and joined this franchise. You look at their drafts, I think the jury's still out on Cody Williams. I think everyone still has their opinions on that as a 10th pick, but you're seeing improvement there. But to be able to get value of Isaiah Collier and Kyle Filipowski in the end of the first round and beginning of the second round was just a massive coup in that draft.
No,
and
the Filipowski is
Keontae
phenomenal.
George at number 16.
Yeah.
I know they took Taylor Hendricks at number 9, but that Taylor Hendricks selection allowed you to make the trade that you made recently to
Triple
really
J.
upgrade your franchise.
Yeah.
And you got Keontae George at 16, who, if you redrafted that draft, is going number 2 behind Victor Wembanyama.
I mean,
after Victor Wembanyama, Keontae George has the most points out of any player selected in that draft.
Well, and I think everybody also sees it's one thing to score points. It's another that people have seen his entire career take a flip.
Yeah.
Like he has become something totally different. I think he adjusted totally what the what his outcome was going to be by whatever switch that got flipped mentally, and I guarantee that's what it was. He got with the right people, and he did the exact right things in the offseason. It's one thing to go and shoot in the gym. They all do that.
Yeah.
His was some kind of a mental block that got him to a spot where he was piling on himself. He was not playing well, and the Keontae George story is phenomenal. And so, yeah, the drafts have gone well. Complain about it however you will, and I don't know.
They just haven't won those drafts.
Right, and I just don't
But they've
think
done the most they could with what they have.
I don't think they're going to win this draft either. I think the reality is I'm anticipating being them or them
because
being.
the Jazz can't have nice things. That's what
I know.
we believe.
I think that being between 4 and 8 is where they're going to be. It's just the reality of it. It just feels like that. The good news is you get to keep 8 or 4 through 8. And the Thunder,
and there's
obviously,
really good players at 4.
and there are good players. And you know what? We don't dive into those guys nearly as much as we do the other guys. But frankly, that was Keontae George a few years ago. Frankly, that was Taylor Hendricks. When you saw him available, you're like, that's that super athletic guy out of was it South Florida? Central. It was one of the Floridas.
Taylor Hendricks?
Yeah.
UCF.
UCF. And you're like, no, that guy's big body, long arms, great. Oh, that's a great pickup at 9. Everybody says his upside's massive. You don't know. And then we get to Keontae George and you go, yeah, I saw him play at Baylor a little bit, and there you go.
And Bryce Sensabaugh was in that draft too in the late 20s.
Man.
Looks like a serviceable 6th man. When you look at the rest of that draft, it's like, ooh, there's a lot of bad picks. The Jazz hit on at least 2 of the 3.
What do you think the reality would be of a Kyle Filipowski redraft?
Oh, he's let me look at that during the break.
Okay.
I'll give you that when I come back.
All right, we'll come back. We've also got Steve Whyno talking NHL, and we might actually have to start prepping ourselves for what it feels like and sounds like. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but playoff hockey, I've been told, is different. And so covering it will feel different. I cannot wait. Stephen Whyno is going to join us next. He covers the NHL for the AP, and he will dip in on how this team is doing right now, not just on this road trip. Last night, the loss in overtime against Chicago, and then going forward. Stay with us, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. JJ and Alex in 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Before we get to some NHL chat and the Mammoth lost in overtime to the Chicago Blackhawks, it was a really fun game to watch. Not a fun ending if you're a Mammoth fan, but you did steal a point, and you had 7 out of 8 points on the road. We have some Jazz tickets to give away, and you did tease before we got to the break what you think Kyle Filipowski was going to end up being drafted in that class. So you get that ready for me. And then let's do the tickets right now. Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Jazz tickets, if you call right now, and you're calling number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. Get a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Bucks coming up next week on March 19th at Delta Center. 801-575-ZONE. Where'd you end up on that one?
I think Kyle Filipowski would go in the top 10 as high as 5.
Even if he were to go to 10 or 12, they drafted him in the second round.
You got a top 10 player in that draft at number 32. You could argue based on points and other analytics and his potential that you probably got a top 5 player in that draft. Would you rather have Kyle Filipowski or Zachary Rizice?
I just love it. They're like, I'm worried about his girlfriend. Remember that was the chatter?
So stupid.
All right.
And Isaiah Collier, by the way, is top 10 in that draft in points scored so far.
Wow.
He's number 1 overall in assists. The Jazz at number 29 and number 32 in that 2024 draft got 2 top 10 players, ironically, and their number 10 pick is still to be determined.
All right.
Funny how the draft is, right?
Joining us right now as we shift gears to Utah Mammoth, Stephen Whyno. He covers the NHL for the AP. Stephen, thanks for being with us, man.
Happy to talk to you guys. How you guys doing?
Oh,
Good.
We're excited, man. This is a hockey town now, and this team's playing like it. And it's exciting. They've gotten 7 out of the 8 points on the road so far. Seems tough for them to maybe get even 1 point tonight at Minnesota on a back-to-back, the second night of a back-to-back. However, the overall picture of this Utah Mammoth team from the national perspective for you is what?
Is real hope and optimism. And I think Bill Armstrong did the right move at the deadline and going out and getting Mackenzie Weegar for this team, because there's such a fine line between when you got a team that's sort of young and getting there, of not messing around with too much of the mix there and saying, but also saying sort of we believe in what you're doing and we want to supplement that. And looking at the playoff picture in the Central Division and in the Western Conference, Utah Mammoth should be in the playoffs, barring something completely catastrophic happening down the stretch, or some of the San Jose or somebody coming up and stealing a wild card spot. This team should be in the playoffs, and that is such an incredible step. And Ryan Ashley Smith know this. It's why they poured the money into this franchise and into sort of the front office and scouting and all the Delta Center upgrades and everything. That it just getting in, even if it's in the 8th spot, to get in and play Colorado, which would be a tough series, is a major boon for this organization. And looking at sort of the rest of the picture there, could certainly be the first wild card there and play a very weak Pacific Division team where it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Mammoth win a playoff series or two, given how the sort of the talent of this team, the Clayton Keller, having Logan Cooley getting back to 100%, adding a Mackenzie Weegar to a mix that already includes Sergachev and a bunch of these guys. And this is a team with some sort of stable goaltending that you can believe that the Mammoth can make a little bit of a run in the playoffs.
Currently a 7-point cushion in that race for a wild card spot, and 6 clear of that number 1 wild card spot, which, as you mentioned, will be very key for them if they're going to have success in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I want to go a little bit deeper on Mackenzie Weegar because fans are still getting to know him here. What's his reputation in the league as someone who's been in the league for a while? What do people around the league, when you ask them about Mackenzie Weegar, what would they say?
Well, he was on the borderline of making that Canadian Olympic team, and that's something that even with the Four Nations last year and the Olympics this year, the Hockey Canada folks, Doug Armstrong, where Bill Armstrong came from in St. Louis, saw very highly of Mackenzie Weegar, sort of more of an offensive-minded defenseman than sort of a shutdown defender, a guy who will occasionally have the turnover or two, but makes up for it with the sort of way he can make plays and create scoring and create points. Also a guy who can play major minutes, and this is a guy who's been on playoff runs and been in playoff chases where he's averaging 20, 25 minutes a night. And when you're looking at a team like this where you're trying to balance out not having to play Mikhail Sergachev a ton, he's going to be a mince-eating defenseman for this team. And I think he's a perfectly slotted second-pairing defenseman on a contending team. He was playing, obviously, bigger minutes with the Calgary Flames, who are struggling at the bottom of the standings. But the perfect sort of, in my opinion, minute standard for a guy like Mackenzie Weegar is if he's playing between 17 and 20, 21 minutes a night, maybe seeing some power play time, that's exactly the sort of usage that Andre Torini and that staff should be using for Weegar.
As you watch this thing play out, and we get funny storylines that happen running up to the playoffs. And last year it was the St. Louis Blues winning 12 in a row in the last couple of weeks of the season that ended up getting them into the playoffs and sneaking in even with the tiebreak. And I think that a lot of folks see a team like Utah and they go, okay, yeah, wild card 1, wild card 2, but the reality is playing a Pacific team is something that I think that this Mammoth team, could they beat a Pacific team and maybe go to the second round of the playoffs? Because you definitely want to avoid the Colorado Avalanche.
Absolutely, and that's depending on who winds up first in the Pacific. Vegas looks like a very vulnerable team right now. The Golden Knights have not gotten consistent goaltending all season, even with the trades that the Kelly McCrimmon's made at the deadline. I still think Vegas is a very vulnerable team. The Edmonton Oilers, given how there's no consistent goaltending there, even with 2 of the best 3 or 4 best players in the world, with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, a team that certainly, with not being able to keep the puck out of its own net, is beatable. And Anaheim Ducks in the same way. Like, Joe Quenneville has made them better as a coach there with 3 Stanley Cup rings, but there's nothing saying the Anaheim Ducks are going to be a great playoff team. I think they're a really good regular season team, and Utah and Anaheim sort of in that same sort of vein of maybe arriving a little ahead of schedule or sort of growing into that sort of playoff contending mode. But you can't tell me going to any of those series that any of those number 1 seeds in the Pacific are unbeatable. Specifically Anaheim, I think if we see a Mammoth Ducks first-round series, that is certainly a winnable series if Karel Vejmelka is on his game, because Lucas Dostal is a countryman of his, is certainly able to steal a series. But you could talk yourself into that's a team that you get into the second round of the playoff, and the other 2 teams beat each other up in the first round, and all of a sudden you're thinking about a conference final, which is something crazy to think about even a year and a half ago.
It was a really quiet deadline, but there were some moves made. And as you look back on it, was there any move made you think really moved the needle for a team to give them an edge when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs or push them forward a little bit more?
It's Colorado
Okay.
and the Avalanche. I wasn't ready to say that the Avalanche were like the crazy should be favorite team to win the Stanley Cup until they got Nazem Kadri back, and he helped. It was the key cog, guys, of them winning the Stanley Cup in 2022, and they've never been able to sort of replace the grit, the sort of depth down the middle. It's hard to win without multiple good centers in this league in the playoffs when you've got matchups and all that sort of thing. That getting Nazem Kadri, even that trade didn't break until about an hour after the deadline, and you're thinking the whole time, man, this is going to be a dogfight between Minnesota and Dallas and Colorado to get out of there. And now if the Avalanche get any sort of basic goaltending out of Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood, that I just think that the depth Colorado has, it's going to be hard for anybody in the West to beat that team in the 7-game series.
The Mammoth are really glad, speaking of centermen, that make a difference. Logan Cooley coming back after his injury after the Olympic break and taking, I think it was about 4 weeks off from his injury. That was a guy that they were missing. He got back into the lineup. It took him a couple games, but he had the 2-goal game the other night, including the game winner against Columbus. Speak to some of the youth on this team, like Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, guys who are just are these guys borderline superstars? Do they have that ceiling of being superstars, or are they just really, really good players in the NHL? What's the type of a vibe you get with those young guys who the Mammoth have signed up for a long time?
I think I called Logan Cooley an emerging star when he signed that contract extension early in the season, and definitely like it hurt to have him out of the lineup. Dylan Guenther certainly fills the gap there. We all know what Clayton Keller can do, but Logan Cooley is a guy who's young and big, and I thought really had a chance of making that U.S. Olympic team if he were healthy. He's probably 2 years away and probably more toward the World Cup of Hockey roster in 2028 for there. But this is the kind of the players that from Arizona, Bill Armstrong from there to Salt Lake City now with you guys, has sort of built players brought them up the right age now. He's got the core of young players. You trade a guy like J.J. Mosier a few years ago to get a Sergachev to sort of augment this core. But even guys like Sean Durzee's not an old player. Like, these are guys where you're expecting them to sort of start coming into their prime right now and start winning. And like we've seen a lot of teams over the years, you lose together and you never sort of make it over that hump. It certainly looks like this group, with Clayton Keller, who, by the way, also isn't old by any means, leading the way. There's certainly a belief from the outside that, like, this is a team ready to take next step because of how much talent has been assembled in that 21 to 24 age range.
As we near closer to the playoffs, it's going to be I'm really looking forward to this because there's so much great talent in the league, and these teams are good, and the parity has never been better. But it's still, I look at the standings, it's like Colorado just really stands out. Do you believe Colorado is just unbeatable, or do you think there's some teams that could make a run against them in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
It would take their goaltending falling apart. It really would. Unless Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar are completely broken from Canada losing in that gold medal game and sort of struggling and each sort of having a role in that loss, there's just too much talent there. And the only thing I would say is that Central Division between Dallas and Minnesota and Colorado there's going to be punch after punch with 3 of the 5 best teams in hockey that you could think if they beat each other up along the way, somebody could sneak through. And the most likely team I would say that could sneak through would be the Edmonton Oilers, because you have Connor McDavid being on a mission, wanting to win a Stanley Cup for the first time. But to me, it would take a lot of things having to go wrong for the Avalanche and right for anybody else to see that team lose in a best-of-7 series.
Anybody in the East have a shot?
Yeah, look, Tampa's great, and John Cooper deserves to win the Jack Adams as Coach of the Year. And he's been doing this with being atop the Atlantic Division, at least till the other day in that crazy game with Buffalo, of being in first place with all these injuries and missing so many, from whether it was Braden Point or Anthony Cirelli, Victor Hedman, just guys hurt all the time, and still managing to win a bunch of games and calling up guys who a lot of people around the league never heard of and winning games. That the Lightning have a shot. You get to the final and injuries happen, and you could see it won't be the Florida Panthers. I mean, that's something that for the first time in years,
wild, right?
We know the Panthers. We know it's crazy that the Panthers aren't going to make the playoffs, but they played a lot of hockey over a bunch of years, and sort of have this 1 year. I think they'll be back a year from now, probably stronger than even before. But if anybody's coming out of the East has a chance, I think it's wide open coming out of the East too. Buffalo, Tampa, Carolina, Pittsburgh, the Islanders. Like, you could pick any one of those teams and say they're in the final, and nothing would surprise me. But compared to how much talent there is in the West, I think the Lightning are the best position to give a Western team a shot in the Stanley Cup final.
Stephen Whyno, he covers the NHL for the AP, joining us on the program today, talking Mammoth and the NHL. We appreciate you joining us, Stephen, and we'll look forward to chatting with you again here in the future.
Thanks, Sean. I'll talk to you soon.
There you go. These are all up and up stuff here. Only good things right now, I think, for the Utah Mammoth to be chatting about.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been playing such good
frustrating
hockey.
as last night kind of was. Look, it wasn't last Sunday. I'm not gonna go that dark.
No. But it's weird.
Why? It's a little bit of a red flag. And Bill Armstrong talked to Scotty today, and it's true. Like, there's just some matchups, like Utah State, UNLV, to give you a basketball perspective. Utah State's the best team in the Mountain West. They won the Mountain West championship. UNLV kicks their butt every time they're playing for some reason. And now Utah State's going down. They're in the first round of, I guess, the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Guess who they got to play? UNLV on their home floor.
At their place. Yeah.
So just some teams have your number, and the Blackhawks have their number. But last night was a little bit frustrating. But if you look at the overall picture, to get 7 of 8 points so far, a chance to get a point tonight, they're in a good spot. And so I can't be negative about the Mammoth right now. The way they responded this past week to that Blackhawks game, which was an absolute dumpster fire, to come back and play the way they have has been really impressive. They're in a good spot.
I want you on Thursday to say dumpster fire to Coach.
Is that the word I have to use?
Coach, your dumpster fire of a game on what looks like March 1st. Well, I don't know what it was. On February 27th.
I think he used more colorful language to describe that.
I guarantee that he feels that way too, but he doesn't want you to say it. It's like,
I think he wants us to move on because they've done really well.
You can beat up your brother, but if somebody else does,
right,
you're coming after
you're
you.
going to protect your house.
I just would love to hear Bear react to that. Dumpster fire.
Is that something they don't say in French Canada?
That's a new one for me. I'll tell the guys. All right.
I tell the guy.
I'll tell the guy. All right. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Did we give those tickets away? Yeah, we did. Yeah. Short memory for me. All right. We'll come back with a Would You Rather next, right here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Mammoth versus the Wild tonight. And that one's going to be a puck drop at 6 p.m. here Mountain Time. 5 p.m. is going to be when you start things up with Hockey Night in Utah. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We're watching right now the worst day in sports history when Rudy Gobert and the Jazz were sent off the floor at Oklahoma City. We had Thor Bailey on the show at the exact moment because he was sitting in the arena. And it was surreal to read the NBA statement. It was surreal to have to figure it out on the fly what we were looking at here. But we knew that somebody had COVID on the team. And we had a thought that it might be somebody with a big name.
Yeah. Sure enough.
And now
the two biggest.
And now they can't get away from the mic touching video. It just never goes away. The back of Ben Anderson's head is all over everybody's screen the last couple of days.
Hey, kudos to Ben Anderson for taking care of the back of your hair. A lot of people neglect that part of your hair.
Or in my case, I wish I had it.
Well, that makes it easier.
To take care of. So in the end, that was a wild time. It is so weird to think back on that.
I don't want to.
And the earthquake and the putting your groceries on the porch because
everything that happened that summer.
That'll get rid of
I don't want to talk about
the viruses. Leave it on the porch.
Leave it on the porch.
Let it breathe.
Clean it up.
That was so stupid. Everyone's like, "Give me some toilet paper." It is.
I remember standing in line for toilet paper.
It is
Costco.
stressful to think about.
That happened in my lifetime.
I know. It's a stressful thing to think about, and I'm glad that we're not going through it right now. But there you go. Hey, Utah State picking up big awards in the Mountain West Conference. What do you have? Jared Calhoun, Coach of the Year. Mason Falslev, Player of the Year, not too shabby. And then Sixth Man of the Year, Carson Templing. Is that about right? Did
Do the
anybody
victors go the spoils?
Yeah, I watched a lot of videos
Champs.
today. I watched a lot of videos today on why everyone is confused as to why AJ DeBonsa wasn't. It wasn't just that AJ DeBonsa didn't win the Player of the Year award. It was the third highest score on Arizona's roster.
I don't even understand. Yeah, I don't get it.
Getting the award.
It's not worth making a big stink over. It's
Arizona's
whatever.
Arizona's on the best team in the conference. Probably.
But
yes.
Jaden Bradley is not the best player in the conference.
They showed the numbers just next to AJ.
Great player, don't get me wrong.
I know.
Arizona's the champs. Again,
No, they
the
win
champs,
games.
Usually the champion, the best player on the champions, but you're right. I thought Burries was better than was a more important player.
Yes. And
Also a freshman.
didn't Koa Pete on that team too?
Yeah.
Think about all the names you'd mentioned before Bradley, right? Anyway, it's fine.
Fleming's at Houston.
Would you rather be coach of the year?
Joshua Jefferson.
Would you rather be coach of the year in the Mountain West heading to the Pac-12? Or would you rather be mid to bottom third in the SEC?
I'd rather be the Utah Valley Wolverines that have to come up with $1 million by 5 p.m. today.
Oh my gosh. By the way, is it going to happen?
We've got a ransom
You
situation
have
in
to
college
explain.
hoops.
So Utah Valley got an injunction. They weren't going to previously be eligible to play in the WAC tournament, which, of course, they would need that championship to likely go to the NCAA tournament. I don't think they're going to get a large bid. This is probably their best year they've had ever in hoops, and they could go to the NCAA tournament. But the WAC is holding them ransom and holding their spot at the tournament for ransom for $1 million. That's good. And guess what? If you're Utah Valley and you're standing and $1 million stands between you going to the NCAA tournament or not, the WAC has you by the
Do they,
scruff.
though?
Yeah. I think they do. But they have 1 hour. It's 5 p.m. is the deadline officially.
It's 4 o'clock and 43 seconds right now.
Yeah.
We're under 1 hour before the Utah Valley Wolverines have to come up with $1 million or they don't get to play in their tournament.
Do you think the WAC had a guy call? He's like, "You have 14 minutes."
The WAC commissioner makes a phone call.
Yeah, with a fake voice thing.
Don't try anything funny either. On the clock, you have 1 hour remaining. We want a briefcase with $1 million.
Oh, my gosh.
Sitting at the front desk at the Orleans Arena in Vegas. We want them in $100 bills.
Sequential. Yeah. No, it's good. It's the kind of stuff that only can happen in 2026 in sports. So here we are. Well, we'll see if you're Utah Valley and that's thing standing in your way. Pay the money. Ask for a.
Is $1 million worth it to get to the NCAA tournament?
Get that home equity line of credit going.
They better
pay it back.
They got 58 minutes and 15 seconds to get a loan.
Yeah, got to get the HELOC. All right, we'll take a break. We will come back.
We know some credit unions.
I know. Jonathan Tavernari, former BYU basketball forward, of course, and JT's weekly appearance with us. He gets to break down, hey, the Texas Tech win on Saturday and what he saw that was different in that team, on top of some previews of this game coming up at 5 o'clock with Kansas State and much more to go. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, and you. Thanks for being a part of the program. It's a Tuesday. We've got hockey tonight on our airwaves after our program. The Utes fell today in the first round of the Big 12 Conference Championships in Kansas City to Cincinnati. It was a nice game at the end. I think they fought their butts off, and it was close.
They competed.
Showed up for the conference championships, and I like that for Alex Jensen. It's good. BYU tonight has a chance. I say tonight. It's going to be a 5 o'clock tip-off here, Mountain Time, for the Cougs to take on Kansas State, who fired their coach mere weeks ago and are trying to find themselves a little bit, but are certainly not incapable of stinging you and embarrassing you. That's how it works in college basketball. Joining us on the program right now, Jonathan Tavernari. JT, what's going on, man?
I have a question for you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you to the welcome to the Jonathan Tavernari show this afternoon.
Thanks for having us, JT.
I'm taking over from JJ and Alex.
Okay.
Today with me, Jeremiah Jensen and Alex, two legends of the Utah sports scene. Guys, I have a question for you.
Oh boy.
What do you make of the Utah basketball situation? Do you think it's on the right track? Do you think it's headed to the right direction? I mean, 10-win season, that's not great, Bob.
No.
Two conference wins, not great either.
I said this to JJ a little bit earlier, or maybe even in the pre-show. I said, look, I think it's been hard because people are looking at things through the filter of look what BYU has. You know what I mean? And even with
that doesn't help.
And it doesn't help. And so people are going, hey, Alex Jensen, Kevin Young did it year one. And then everybody goes, yeah, but they're not paying $20 million. And I hate that for him because it's an unfair way to approach it. And I think that you definitely have to give it time. And you have to look at it. When I say give it time, people are still impatient in the world of college sports. And you're paying a lot of money for these guys to win games. And so how long do you let that go? Don't know. But I feel bad for Alex Jensen having to have everybody talking about what's going on down south when he's trying to build this up here, and then it makes it harder on his guys. It makes it harder on his ability to be able to build his own thing, having that filter. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's the way I've kind of felt about it.
Yeah.
You know what? And I appreciate you guys sharing that. JJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, they're in the shadow of BYU right now, and I don't think that's a place they want to be in. And they've got to ask some questions and answer some questions about where their program's going. But there's two things that are lacking there that BYU has. Number one is the funding, obviously, and we know where BYU's at with that, and you've seen the difference that makes. And if you're going to compete in the Big 12, you got to have it. You're trying to beat Arizona and Houston and Texas Tech, and the list goes on and on. Iowa State, these are the elite programs in the country, even before NIL came out. These are teams that pumped out NBA talent year after year after year. And Kansas too. I left out Kansas. You're trying to beat these teams? You've got to have money in the war chest to be able to go out and get the players you want. But here's the thing. You've got to have the players. JT, you know this. You're only as good as the guys you can throw out there on the court when you roll the ball out there. And right now they don't have guys. They have two or three nice pieces, but they don't have a roster that allows them to compete at this level. And so they got to go out and get that. And that's the challenge now for Alex Jensen and his staff, to go out and get a roster that can compete in the Big 12, not only winning, but eventually competing for titles. And that's your goal, and has to be your goal. You're Utah basketball. You used to be one of the top 10 winningest programs in the sports history. And you have got to get back to that place, and it feels like it's forever far away. And so that's the challenge that Alex Jensen has right now, to get the funding, to get the players, and to change the perception of his program. That is a really tough job, JT.
See how easy it is to do this sports stuff on the radio all day. You just bring people and just say, guys, you tell me what you think. But listen, I appreciate you guys saying that, because I know we're going to talk about BYU, who plays a game here shortly. But JJ, I remember being in Brazil and playing NCAA March Madness on the Super Nintendo. I remember seeing the red U.
Yeah.
I never remember seeing the blue Y. And I remember hearing about Andre Miller, Michael Doliak, Keith Van Horn, Rick Majerus, NCAA Final Four. And, as rivalries aside, and you know me, JJ, because we've talked about this in private, I only say snarky comments about Utah fans and about Utah when someone comes at me and makes a stupid comment. Otherwise, I think it's a great storied school. And it's sad to see a school from the state that we love and we cherish to not be doing well. Flipping the tables a little bit, right? Flipping the script a little bit. BYU has an interesting game tonight, right? Against Kansas State, a team that, like you guys mentioned, it doesn't have a head coach because he was let go. And BYU is coming off a massive win, guys, a massive win. A win that, in my opinion, is a better win than Iowa State. I know Iowa State was ranked number 6 in the country, but the way they played against Texas Tech, it was super impressive. And so I love what BYU did on Saturday. And to me, it was the exact type of performance that I've been begging these guys to do, which is play hard, effort, be tough, dive for loose balls, hustle, and they did that. And they did that amidst a rain of threes from Texas Tech. Guys, Texas Tech made 12 threes in the first half. Like, it was a 3-point storm by the Red Raiders, and BYU was able to withhold that. And they did it by playing tough defense. And to me, that was the best possible outcome, getting ready to play hopefully 2 or 3 games this week. I think anything more than that, they are doing themselves a disservice for next week in the NCAA tournament. And so I love that. Let's talk about it, Alex. Do you disagree with me?
Well, maybe you saw my face, and I think it's it's just this. It's like a weird. We were just talking about for the first hour the Jazz Tankathon and how weird that is to talk about that in sports. And you go, hey, I'll let you win a couple games, but hey, not too many. You got to save yourself for that NCAA tournament. But I get it. I mean, we talked when you told us last week, like, hey, you felt like, and it wasn't anybody inside the team. You had just felt like, hey, some of these guys might feel like, all right, let's just make sure we get it together for the NCAA tournament. Let's not kill ourselves to try to make this thing happen right now. My thought is there I asked JJ this the other day. I go, what's the difference of seeding of a first-round exit, second-round exit, third-round exit?
Yeah, and I think the way you break this down, Alex, is, and I mentioned this and I stand by it. If BYU could, get on the DeLorean and travel to next Wednesday to get ready for the Thursday game, I think they will take that on a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because – did they have a chance of winning the Big 12 tournament? Probably not. There would have to beat Houston. They would have to then go beat Texas Tech or Kansas or Arizona. I mean, the mountain to climb would be the equivalent of going up Timpanogos backwards on a handstand, right? And so it's just such a monumental task. And so win today against Kansas State. It's a quick turnaround. Keep up the momentum going from the win on Saturday. Beat a West Virginia team. Get a little bit of a payback because that's a team that you lost to on the road with a very terrible, lackadaisical effort. And then you play Houston, who is arguably a top 10 team in the country. And as long as you play hard and you do a good showing, no one's going to bat an eyelash. And you go to the NCAA tournament, and to answer your question, if they lose in the first round, it's a massive failure of a season. If they lose in the second round, it's a very disappointing season. If they make to the Sweet 16 and lose, man, I'm gonna get a AJ DiBonsa number 3 tattoo, because if he is able to do that on this depleted season where 5 season-ending injuries, right, 3 of them being rotation guys, 1 of them being the face of your program. If BYU gets to the Sweet 16, that means back-to-back seasons of Kevin Young going to the Sweet 16. That means back-to-back seasons of Kevin Young having a 5-star recruit coming to BYU. The story that you can tell and that you can sell to boosters to make sure that, to your point, Alex, that the war chest is filled up for next season is a much easier story to tell.
By the way, our producer, Alex Napolis, has written down the timestamp for when the tattoo comment was made so that we can bring it back.
Better start shopping.
I'll get you hooked up with a guy that I knew in prison. He does the greatest. He does really good tattoos. It'll be fine. No, listen, but it's digitized now. It's going to go across the ether, so everybody's going to know you got to put that AJ DiBonsa tattoo on after that Sweet 16 berth. But yeah, it seems further away than we ever could have.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But JT, you bring up some good points. Is if this team plays as well as they did against Texas Tech, if they start doing those things that they weren't doing, then they can do something here and take some of the frustration of this season out on this postseason and maybe extend or go beyond what people think they are now. Because I think that the expectations have been recalibrated. I really do. And you're right. If you said at the start of this season, if BYU is going to finish 10th in the Big 12 and not win an NCAA tournament game, that would be a disaster. And that's the reality that they're looking at right now, right? They've already finished 10th, and if they can't get a better seeding, an 8-9 matchup that's a coin flip, It may not go their way. So that starts now. What gives you hope that they can continue to build off of what they did against Texas Tech, beat Kansas State, and beat West Virginia, which would really get some momentum going into that? Even if they win or lose against that Houston game, it gives them a chance to get that 6 or 7 seed, which increases their odds in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I will say this, JJ. I am going to withhold what gives me hope until the game is here in 40 minutes, and so I will send you a text message at about 5:09 after the first TV timeout.
You're that concerned you're not going to see the same effort.
But JJ, do you blame me?
No,
with the
I don't.
fact that in the last 3 or 4 weeks, how many times have we seen this effort?
They beat Iowa State, and then what did they have? UCF happened right after that.
I'm sorry, JJ. Iowa State didn't have a good game against BYU.
Right. You're right.
BYU played well. Iowa State just had a bad game. I'm sorry. I don't, it's, Santa Claus is real, folks, but, you may want to ask your mom and dad about that one. But I will tell you this. Guys. Iowa State just didn't play well against BYU. So if you really stop to acknowledge things, BYU only had a real effort that matches the expectations from before the season one time against Texas Tech. And that's scary. And that's why, am I excited? Am I hopeful? I'm definitely hopeful, right? Repeat Cheap from Narnia says we have nothing if not belief, right? But, one time is a fluke. Twice maybe becomes a pattern. 3 times you have a streak, right? And so that's why I'm saying Kansas State is not a 3-headed monster that you have to figure it out. West Virginia is not a 3-headed monster that you have to figure it out. Houston is. And so if you're able to find your mojo and have the same type of effort today and tomorrow, I could not care less if they get blown out by Houston, because you show me that you're onto something. Because the odds of you being soft and not being tough after playing pretty much 3 games that you're really tough are really small. And so that's why these 2 games today and tomorrow are so crucial. Get your mojo, get your rhythm, play tough, get a little bit of confidence on the guys, and, let's see what happens on Selection Sunday.
Jonathan Tavernari joining us on the program, getting ready for this BYU versus Kansas State matchup. This particular matchup, how do you think they do game 1 in this tournament? And I know you said you talked about going and not winning too many games at this one and get yourself ready for next week, because the NCAA tournament obviously is the most important one. But getting a win against Kansas State and maybe even against West Virginia is massive. But how do they match up against the Wildcats?
Well, so I think it's a good matchup for them. You know what I mean? I think that it's a game that it's a physical team. Kansas State has nothing to lose, guys. They have nothing to lose. And, it's the guy that's willing to die, not to, quote Rocky here. But, what does Kansas State has to lose? The season has been crazy, has been a disaster. Their coach got fired. Coach was talking about ripping their last names from the jerseys. Think about that, because they don't deserve it. And so the only chance that this team has at any type of glory is by going on a magical run in the Big 12 tournament. So Kansas State has really nothing to lose. It's the last time that some of these guys is going to have film to be able to get to go to the transfer portal and have another opportunity, a better situation for them to move on to. And so it's going to be a great game, right? Expect them to double and AJ DiBonsa, pack the lane. I personally think BYU will probably take about 20-25-3 this games because they, what is the easiest way for you? Well, and I don't mean easiest. What is the less difficult way for you to scout BYU as you're getting ready for one of these games? Well, the easiest thing for you to do is be able to understand we're going to pack the lane to get the ball out of AJ's hand. We're going to be long and physical with Robert Wright. We're going to challenge them on the rebounds for their big men, and we're going to force them to become a three-point shooting team. And, if you do those four things against BYU, you may have a chance. Now, I'm not saying that, that's what Kansas State is doing. But if BYU is able to overcome those things, which has been the trend the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think that it's a great matchup for BYU, again, to then be able to go against a very good West Virginia team tomorrow.
Is it more important for BYU to get just incredible production and scoring out of AJ DiBonsa in this postseason, Or is it more important for them to find somebody either in the starting lineup or on the bench outside of Rob Wright and AJ DeBonsa to step up and exceed expectations?
You are correct.
The latter.
Meaning that
It's all of it.
I just don't think you're going to get both, JT, right? It's hard to believe you're going to get both. Which one would be more important?
I'll personally say it's probably to get a better performance than from the other guys.
Yeah.
Because AJ will always get his. Right. And so that's the thing, JJ, that, I've been talking to my wife about this, and she goes, it blows my mind that some of these guys are not jumping at the opportunity like shark when sees blood in the water. Because this is where they could really make a name for themselves, set them up financially for a very long time with this opportunity that Richie's not there, Dawson is not there, right? And Nate Pickens is not there. And you become a central point and focus of things that will allow you to have a great benefit in the transfer portal. And so to me, the fact that they are not doing that, like I would be living in a gym. I would be living in that practice facility. Just ready to shoot and catch and shoot. I would have tendonitis on my wrist from being able to be ready to catch and shoot threes. And so to me, it's more important that the support cast delivers more than AJ, simply because we know what we can expect from AJ.
Yeah, I agree.
JT, we're looking forward to this one today, and we're also looking forward to having this chat next week when the NCAA tournament will be upon us, and then we'll be able to really break things down and get excited about it. So we appreciate you always joining us, man, and the energy is always awesome. Thanks for being a part of the program today, man.
Appreciate you guys having me, and, it's going to be a fun game, and I'm excited to talk to you guys next week about the breakdown of the Selection Sunday choices.
There you
Can't
go.
wait.
JT,
Thanks,
Jonathan
JT.
Tavernari, we appreciate it. We'll take a quick break here. Before we do, I want to remind you that, of course, the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program, ongoing, and it's always to be able to honor those people who are youth sports volunteers in your area that do an awesome job. So nominate somebody today. You do it at kslsports.com/contests, and then we honor those people that you nominate. Those winners, every Thursday we pick one, and we read that nomination over the airwaves. They get a social media shout-out from all of our channels, and then, of course, they get the $250 to the Beehive Meals, and that's also phenomenal. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program. All right, we will take a break here. We'll come back. We've got Jazz tickets also to give away, I think. Yes, so we'll come back to that. Also, more to go around the corner, getting you ready for the Mammoth and Wild tonight. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Team USA and Mexico last night battling. That was a good game, by the way. Did that get you into it? WBC? Did you get in?
I'll tune in. I can't tell you that I'm watching the pool stuff, but I think when it gets down to the finals, when it really matters, I'll be locked in. Like a USA Dominican Republic final, I'm watching that.
Oh yeah, or Japan, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I'm trying to think because there were teams that they keep mentioning, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I even knew, because in my mind it was more like the Four Nations last year with hockey, where you're like, yeah, there's 8 baseball countries playing, because you're like, yeah, who's into it? And when I saw yesterday that, like, Israel was playing, who was it that they were? It was pretty crazy, because it was like Israel versus Italy or something, and I was like, everybody's playing in this thing, man.
Great Britain. Like, am I supposed to really believe that they play baseball in Great Britain?
Right. Oh yeah. And when you see Great Britain on a on a baseball uniform, you're always like, okay.
Jazz Chisholm's playing for Great Britain. Like, come on. What are we doing?
What's the connection? What do you
I'd
have to?
I'd have to Google it.
But that's what I want to know is what?
It's that unobvious.
Yeah. What are the connections?
Can't be much.
So, and by the way, there were play-ins. Like, you had to be able to qualify for this tournament.
Yeah.
Listen, I lived in Argentina for 2 years. I never saw one person pick up a baseball ever, or even know if I showed them one, I'd be like, "What sport is this?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
Isn't it crazy weird how
But
there's
they
only
had a team. They
specific
have a
places
team.
where baseball has taken off.
It
And
missed,
Japan
yeah.
is one of them.
Oh, yeah. Korea.
The Caribbean is one of them.
Yes, Caribbean, yes.
And that's pretty much it.
Part of South America, but not all of it.
Just the northern part.
Yeah, so
It's in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it.
So Team USA versus Italy in group play. By the way, the Italians, undefeated in group play. Did you just
look
get
out for
Parker?
Italy.
Did you just get excited about that? Yeah, let's go. Italy.
Can you name one player on the Italian
No,
roster?
I thought you got pumped up when I saw.
Oh, hey!
He throws in a we. He throws in a we. Me, Luigi, Mario,
Hey!
Caglione.
Yay!
Come on. I love
Chicken
it.
parm.
Now 2 Royals are on the Italian. Look at that. I love it. See, Parker's into it. There's not a lot of sports that Parker misses, though, to be honest. So he might be the outlier.
No, he was ready. I asked the question. He answered
the only person who knew anybody else on any other roster besides maybe
I'm
USA,
impressed.
Mexico, the Dominican, and Japan and Korea. There you go.
Well, you had your 2 Mariners teammates getting in a fight.
Oh, what happened?
Not a physical fight. So Randy Arozarena went up to bat, and Cal Raleigh was the catcher for USA, and he wouldn't shake his hand.
Yeah, but you can't. I've seen catchers do this because they don't like the pine tar on their hand.
Well, and it's a very competitive environment. You're like, he's not his teammate right now. But Randy Arozarena didn't appreciate that, apparently.
Whatever.
You think they'll be okay?
See you at
here
spring
in,
training.
Here in 3 weeks when they actually have to play with each other?
When they share the private plane back to camp, yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay.
I think so.
You think they'll iron out their differences?
They'll iron them out, yeah.
They got all summer to do it.
Cry themselves at night to sleep on their huge money pillows. Can't believe it. Yeah. Yeah, again, Mexico and USA baseball, I don't think we look at it like it's the same thing as, the Team USA, Mexico, soccer matchups that, of course, we've looked forward to for a long, long time. So we'll see. I'll dip in. If Team USA makes it to the final, they've earned my viewership after that, okay? All right, I've got some Jazz tickets to give away. Jazz Ticket Tuesday, call number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. You get a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Bucks next week on March 19th at Delta Center. There you go. So we'll see you there. 801-575-ZONE. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Let's do it. Okay. Jazz, of course, get the win last night. The Mammoth, they switched spots than what we've normally seen. The Mammoth take the loss on the road in overtime. Fine. I'm okay with it. They got the point. I don't love that it's against the Blackhawks because that's a team that they just seem to have their number with. Dylan Guenther gets to his 30th goal of the season, which officially is the highest in his career. And I just love we had Stephen Whyno on with the AP who covers the NHL talking about this. Logan Cooley's the next guy that he sees on that rise, and he puts him on Team USA in a couple of years. Yeah. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that you could see a lot of these guys playing for their nations in these big international tournaments. But to me, this game against the Wild tonight, it's a tough time to do it. Veggie is coming off of a day's rest, thank heavens, right? A 1 day rest. So, but it matters. And Vitek had a great freaking game last night.
The last 2 times he's been out there, he's been phenomenal.
Yes.
He had the shutout against the Flyers, and then last night he did enough for the win.
Yeah.
They just didn't generate enough offense in regulation.
They had so many chances to score.
The second and third period was incredibly frustrating. There was a point in the third period where it felt like the Blackhawks were on a power play for like 8 minutes. They dominated the puck in their own zone that long. I was like, when is the Mammoth going to get something going here? They finally had a flurry at the end of the third, but it was too late. And they had their chances early on in the overtime, and as soon as Schmaltz had that penalty, game was over. There was no way they were going to be able to weather a 2-minute power play storm.
Yeah, 4-on-3
in overtime.
No
it's just impossible.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating the way it ended. It's frustrating how bad the offense was for most of that game, but you get a point out of it. I'm not mad about it. You move on. Tonight's a tough challenge. We talked about it earlier in the show. The Minnesota Wild are a really good team. They're loaded. They're stacked at every position, and that's a team that got beat pretty badly at the end of a road trip by the Mammoth last week on Friday, and
they've reversed roles this week.
Now the roles reversed. It's flipped, and it doesn't feel good right now. I don't have good vibes about tonight. I'm going to be honest. But this Mammoth team is tough. They're resilient, and maybe that's just like the Blackhawks have The Mammoth's number? Maybe the Mammoth just have the Wild's number because the Mammoth have been very successful against the Wild over the past 2 seasons.
There are matchups, right? I mean, just like we were talking about, you can find them. And the Blackhawks are 3-0 against the Mammoth this year. I remember when they lost earlier in the season to the Blackhawks, and we were like, that might be one that we look at and we go back because we assume that they'd go back and win the other 2 games against them because Chicago's not a playoff team, and they just have the Mammoth number. That's just the way it is. Matchups matter even in hockey. So. And it was sloppy play last night anyway. It didn't seem like it got going at all. It didn't click in many moments for this team. But
so the Mammoth and the Wild play 3 times this year. The first meeting on October 25th, the Mammoth won 6-2. The second meeting they won 5-2. Can they duplicate that now on the road? The first time they beat them was on the road when they won 6-2.
So 11-4 is the goal differential between those 2 teams.
It's wild.
This year?
I mean, no pun intended. It's wild how much they dominate that team and. They had luck against them last year. It just feels like impossible, but at the same time, maybe I'm not looking into that enough and the matchups enough because they have had a lot of success against the Minnesota Wild.
It kind of bonkers that this team. By the way, this road trip has just made a huge difference in the standings too, because now they're at 73 points. By the way, 73 points would be good enough for first place in the Pacific.
Gosh, that's interesting. Even going back to last year. The Wild have never beat the Mammoth in regulation.
Look at that.
The only win Minnesota had last year in 4 games was a 5-4 shootout win, and that was here at the Delta Center.
If you're talking points tonight, you're telling me there's a chance.
The Utah Hockey Club beat them 2-1 on the road, 4-0 on the road last year, and 6-1 at home.
Jeez.
They own Minnesota, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've talked myself into it.
Settle down.
Maybe
down
there's some
that.
optimism about tonight.
Isn't that weird that the Mammoth totally own the Wild and the Wild suck every time they play the Mammoth? I don't want that going out into the ether.
Hey, look at goal differential.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is kind of funny. All right. What we're going to do here is take a quickish, early-ish break on this one because we're going to get you ready for hockey, of course, coming up at the top of the hour. A 5 o'clock pregame, Utah hockey and Mammoth hockey and Utah hockey night here in Utah. We love having hockey across this whole thing. My sons are into it. We are into it at home, and I'm excited to see what the feel of the playoffs are going to be in a hometown. Second year with the team here, and if the playoffs are a thing, man, that'd be awesome. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. How long has Geno Smith been in the NFL?
Oh, about 13 years. 2013, was that his rookie year? Am I right?
Great poll, if so. But he's getting up there, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he is 35 years old.
Okay.
He will turn 36 during the season.
The New York Jets, back in, what year was it in the draft?
When they took him?
Yeah.
2013. I was right. Yeah.
2013.
Second round of the 2013 NFL draft.
The steel trap. Geno Smith in 2013. The Jets went from Geno Smith to Matt Sims to Michael Vick to Ryan Fitzpatrick, to Bryce Petty, to Josh McCown, to Sam Darnold, to Trevor Siemian, to Luke Falk, to Joe Flacco, to Zach Wilson, to Mike White, to Josh Johnson, to Chris Streveler, Aaron Rodgers, to Tim Boyle, to Tyrod Taylor, to Justin Fields, to Brady Cook, and now back to Geno Smith.
What a circle that is.
I mean, the Browns should go. Stop saying that to us about the quarterback.
Seriously.
Look at those freaking guys.
The Jets are worse right now, for sure. That's brutal.
That is an astonishing list.
You had Hall of Famers in there.
Yeah,
didn't even get it done with the Jets.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, past their prime, Hall of Famers. But yeah.
Still, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't. Aaron Rodgers was pretty good with the Steelers this year, right? I mean, he's decent.
Yeah.
Wasn't Pro Bowl level.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's still playing in the league, and he won a playoff game, I think, with the Browns.
Do we
got them there.
By the way, do we have any update on the active situation with UVU being held hostage? They have 6.5 minutes to pay off $1 million to be able to go to the WAC tournament.
You have 7 minutes and 30 seconds to deliver the briefcase.
Put it under the door.
$1 million in it.
If you do not deliver it on time, you
I just love
cannot
it.
play.
Yeah. I mean, and look, if you're UVU, you're this close to the NCAA tournament, you'll kind of
Did
do
they
anything.
get a ransom note with like the cutout newspaper letters and everything?
Oh, yeah.
The magazine letters?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what they used. That's what the WAC did. They sent it in an envelope that had to be searched for anthrax first. There you go. Who'd this come from? The WAC.
Well, I hope Utah Valley hurries. He got less than 6 minutes.
I do like the idea of kind of giving the middle finger to the WAC, but
Oh, for sure.
yeah. Utah Mammoth and the Minnesota Wild. How's this one go tonight, JJ? Very quickly.
I talked myself into the Mammoth winning this game. The only reservation I have is it's a back-to-back at the end of a road trip. But for some reason, the Mammoth own the Wild,
6,
and
7
that
in a
could
row?
continue tonight.
All right, we'll see. You're going to get the coverage right here, of course. You will get Hockey Night in Utah, the pregame starting up at 5 o'clock here, and then tomorrow we'll be back with another full program, and we'll get you ready here for it as well. So coming right up, stay dialed in, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone, and you'll also get it on 1280 AM or dial it up online on KSLSports.com.